Here's some cheap estate planning advice. Many people have heard of a Ladybird deed, and they're like, that's great. It can help you avoid Medicaid estate recovery, save your house for your kids. It's easy, it's inexpensive, but it's only available in 5 states. So if you live in Florida, Michigan, the states that it's available, you're in luck. And I would definitely contact an attorney because those are very flexible. Now, if you live in all the other states, the 45 states that don't offer a Ladybird deed, they still have something similar. It's called a life estate. So you could still put your house into a life estate for your, let's say I'm living with a man, so for my partner. So he can have the house for his life, and when he dies, it goes to my daughter. So a life estate is similar. It's taking the ownership away from me. Once I put in a life estate, I don't own it. If I don't own it, Medicaid can't come against me for Medicaid estate recovery. If I am sued, my creditors can't come against me, right? Debtors, I don't own it. If I give somebody a life estate, they own it. I can't change it once I set up a life estate. So that's why it's not as flexible as a Ladybird deed. You can change that all the time. So if you're in those states, you want a Ladybird over a traditional life estate. So if I give my partner a life estate deed, he can live in the house. He has to pay the bills. He has to pay the property taxes. He has to maintain the house. He can't just destroy it, okay? So he's got to keep the house up. But as long as he continues to live there, he can live there his entire life. My kids can't kick him out. So it's really good when there's second marriages or non-marriage. In my scenario, we're just living together. And I had to deal with this recently. One of my best friend's father-in-law was living with a woman for years, and she passed away. Kids evicted him. He wasn't on the deed. So she assumed he was close to the kids. He assumed the kids would let him live there till he died, and he's in his late 70s. Nope. The kids said, get out. We want to sell the house. We want the money because we're the beneficiaries. She should have put the house in a life estate for her longtime partner so he could live there until he died. Then the house could be sold and the money could be divided up for her kids. Now, let's say I put my house in a life estate for my partner. So when I die, he gets a life estate. What happens if we break up? So if we break up, I can't go change the life estate. So what happens if he finds a new girlfriend and he doesn't want to live here? Well, a life estate, he owns something. There's a value to that. So we could buy him out. And that's a tough thing to figure out how much he owns of that. But there's a value on that. Like an attorney can help you figure that out. And we could pay him off so that he could leave the life estate. He has some type of ownership value in it. So like I said, this is just cheap estate planning advice. I'm just trying to alert you to some of the other options you have, because too many retirees say, I'm nervous that I might go into a nursing home. I can't pay $10,000 a month. It would eat up my whole estate. Then they would come back for my house, Medicaid estate recovery, which I talk about a lot. And I'd really like to save that one asset I worked my whole life for, my house. I'd really like to just pass that down to my kids or my grandkids. So there's ways to do that. And unfortunately, many people don't want to work with an attorney. Think it's too expensive or too convoluted, or they just don't want to. So they just give the house to their kids. That's easy, right? Just give it to the kids. I hear that every day. They're like, I'm not going to have to deal with anything. Well, there's a 5-year look back. So if I give my house to my kids today and I end up having a stroke and going into the nursing home next year, the nursing home is going to look and see, oh, you gave your house to your kids. So the nursing home is not going to pay for my care. The state Medicaid won't pay for my care. They're going to say, ask your kids for the money because you gave it away. So they won't pay for my care for a certain amount of years based on how much I gave away. So that's why that look back comes in. If you want to give your house to your kids, the sooner the better, even though I never recommend this. But if that's what you're set on, the only estate planning you're willing to do, then the sooner the better. Because once they have it, the clock starts ticking on those 5 years. So maybe now I don't have a stroke till 6 years, in which case I don't have any money. I don't own anything. My state Medicaid will pay for my nursing home care. My kids will be able to keep the house. Now, there's other tax ramifications by giving the house to your kids that an accountant or an attorney would say, hey, no, don't do that. If I bought my house for $50,000 and now when I give it to my kids, it's worth $500,000. I mean, that's kind of a common story people are talking about right now, right? Houses have appreciated so much. If I die and leave the house to my kids in an irrevocable trust, which is the number one way to do this, then my kids would pay taxes as if they got it at the $600,000 value. But if I give my house to my kids, they're going to pay taxes as if they got it at $50,000. So they're going to pay taxes on the appreciation from $50,000 to $500,000. This is called stepped up basis if you want to research it. That's why if you use a trust, irrevocable, not a living trust, if you use an irrevocable trust, your kids can take advantage of stepped up basis and pay much, much lower taxes. But if you want to do the easy thing that I don't recommend and just give it to them, they're going to pay a lot more in taxes. And you might say, well, paying more in taxes versus paying it all to the nursing home is still a win for my kids, so I'll let them deal with that. You just need to know that not everybody goes into a nursing home, so that might not be a problem. So now I gave my house to my kids because I was worried about a nursing home, and I love my kids. But my kids got into some trouble with creditors, bankruptcy, with divorce, with drugs, with gambling. You know, things happen. They own my house. So they might have to sell my house to pay their creditors, to pay off their ex-spouse, right? And I'm living in the house. I don't own it. And now we got a big problem because I gave my house to my kids and I lost complete control when I just gave it to them because it was a cheap and easy thing to do. So I never recommend that you do that. I know it's daunting to work with an attorney. I know you feel vulnerable and that they're going to vastly overcharge you. But there's millions of attorneys that are small, middle-class attorneys that don't charge you exorbitant fees that specialize in this type of law, which is elder law estate planning. And for a consultation, it'll be like $100 an hour. You know, you need an hour of their time to see if you want to work with that guy and to see what that person could be able to help you with. It is worth your time. And then you can talk about a life estate or a Ladybird deed or all the other vehicles, revocable trust, all the other things that you might be able to use to preserve your estate for your family. Hope this helps. If you learned something, please hit the subscribe button.
If you like this video, you might really like this video. Check it out. And we'd appreciate if you subscribe to our channel so you never miss a great video. We put out one every week. Check in the description below this video for a link to our cheat sheet on Social Security and Medicare. And you can also give us a comment if you have a specific question. Always feel free to call us or email us at the Medicare Family.